Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer. And it is a beautiful, chilly morning on the outside. Wow, the weather changed last night, didn't it? Welcome into the hottest spot in town. And as we celebrate Black History Month, we're proud to spotlight Black history locally, right here in Pensacola. From historic sites of cultural leaders and Black historians, these stories rooted in faith, resilience, and culture, and of course our community. And get this, what I love the most, told by the voices who lived them right here. And of course, through Sunshine's Corner, in partnership with Visit Pensacola, we are connecting the cultural storytelling lines. We're connecting with the tourism, with the education, and the community pride. This is content that lives beyond February. Now, we're inviting visitors, locals alike to explore, to experience, and to celebrate the true heart of Pensacola. And today, joining us right here, one of the greatest storytellers in Pensacola is Miss Robin Richard of Kakua Institute. Yay! Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, Sunshine. Thank you. And you look like a ray of sunshine. I know that's, passe. That's what you look like.
Thank you, love.
Love this sophisticated look.
Hey, I'm going up to be a big girl now. What you talking about? But no, Robin, with Black History Month, what better way? And when I say that you're one of the greatest storytellers.
Oh, thank you.
And I just love how you can incorporate, get the point, but yet make it fun to get the point. Because some people don't have that talent. And I love it.
Well, you know that old thing, I get it from my mama. In
Come
this
on.
case, I get it from my dad.
All right now.
Literally sitting at his feet, listening to him and my mother, but especially him tell stories, because we lived on family land that had been in our family still today since the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And so to hear all of these stories and to see the relics and the remnants of the things that they did, the tools,
of course,
the fence where they kept the cows,
of course,
still there.
Exactly.
And the liquor bottles, because my daddy said we had preachers and moonshiners in our family, so you would get your spirit one way or the other. That's what
see what I mean?
Sometimes the preacher was the moonshiner, but that's a different story.
Okay, Daddy.
but getting those and hearing how he made them interesting, and from my childlike innocence, not even thinking some of them are real. I'm like, that couldn't be real.
Come on.
That couldn't be real.
I hear you.
And so I know you did, and you come from this amazing historic community, that you hear these stories.
Exactly.
And when they appear before you, as we were talking earlier, getting somebody in real life, when they appear before you, when you can see from whence they're talking, that's a beautiful thing. And so I am so grateful to my parents for sharing that to their parents, for for continuing those stories down the line.
And Robin, I think it's so important, and for the younger generation. Just like the young lady we was talking about. All right. When I sit and I hear, I'm so in awe because there's so much wisdom there.
Yeah.
Even as they travel through to share the Black history. And these are the type of things that I want us to make sure that we keep our young people involved with. And I'm sure that's with Kakua, that's what you do. And I think that is absolutely deserve all of that within itself. Because we need that.
Yeah.
And with these things that are happening now, and I'm so transparent when it comes to the world today, how we're dealing with such things as they are.
It's a little challenging.
That also lets me know that what we have is so important that it wants to be taken away, but we're not going to let that happen.
But even our elders, like we were talking, and I'm just going to call her name because she's so amazing.
Oh, God, yes.
Mrs. Wooten, Miss Alvina Wooten, who's getting ready to turn out, she would not mind me telling you, 100 years old.
Isn't that beautiful?
She was an educator and still today educates about her family history. When I was able to share this tidbit of information about this theatrical history in her family.
Right.
Her family actually introduced Mom's Mabley to the national stage. So this is her uncle, Bimbo, William Bimbo. And so she didn't know about she heard about him, but she didn't know about this amazing legacy. So we know a lot about our families, we don't know everything about our families. Because even as adults, I've heard you say this quite often, that we sometimes only choose to share the good. The bad and the ugly are also those things, because Mr. William Bimbo would marry his star.
And you said her name is Wooten, right?
Miss Alvina Wooten,
yes. I want to say, well, Mr. Sylvester, you are a Wooten. I mean, you never know. I mean, I know he's watching because he watches every day. I'm thinking, well, I bet when you said Wooten, he went, I mean, but I'm that connected. That could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact of it is, we're talking Black history that happens right here, and things that we're going to share that we need to know of. And I'm so glad, because we're going to do this throughout the month. There was something I thought about last night when I was writing my intro. We're not just going to do this in February. It has to continue every single day, so that we can continue to educate.
Yeah, it's American history, and it's world history, because like the Bimbo family, they went to Europe, they went to South America to entertain, and so our stories go outside of our continental shelf, if you will, and so we're able to share. And other people come into this country and make their way into this country, like John Gibson, so has a school named for him. So he came into this country from the Bahamas, and so here you have people who immigrate into this country and share their stories and make their way here as well.
Absolutely.
And so we've been able to extend little old Pensacola's history out into the world because of people like Miss Wooten, and then she has family that is connected to the naval base too. So the amazing history that they're uncovering out there from when it was even before the naval, the entire thing was the naval base. Yeah,
I got you. But you know what? These are stories that don't make it to the textbook.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too.
It's so unfortunate. These are events that, that's why I say it's so great to have storytellers that can tell these stories, like these things that are right here. I mean, and look at her. When I think of 100 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, give me what, I mean, does she drink coffee? So I can have something that can last that long? I mean, but it's amazing the things that we need to know, even just here. I was reading, because I have a thing that's airing every day about Black history, and I was even learning more about Chappie James. I even found a clip with him talking. I mean, but these kind of things, it just,
I was like, voice.
Yes. But it's amazing. But I want you to take the lead, and let's talk about some things that you and Vincent Pensacola are going to be sharing with us about the elders, the churches, and everything that's right here in Pensacola.
So I'll lead in with Chappie James, because not to talk about Chappie James, but talk about another member of his family who had an impact that we appreciate today because of Visit Pensacola. So I'm on the Visit Pensacola board again. I'm really excited and grateful to have this bit of public or community service with them again. Chappie James' brother, Tony, it was an older brother, Tony, was a part of this group called the Pensacola Invincible 20 Club, the Pit Club. And so before we had Wingate Beach, before we had Johnson Beach, we had Pitts Beach. You would see it as Pitts because it would look like it was someone's last name, like Wingate, like Johnson. But it was the Pensacola Invincible 20 Club, and these were a group of African-American men. I haven't traced 20, I've traced about 10. I haven't traced 20, that they would quietly influence the political, the social, the cultural structure of Pensacola. And so this was in the 1920s. Fast forward to 1934, they buy 9.5 acres of land because they wanted to make sure that African Americans could recreate the fullness. So we have this amazing, amazing, amazing beach. We have these amazing ands to the beach. So our military, our environment that people can come and love and share. So the Pit Club and Tony James bought 9.5 acres out Gulf Beach Highway right on the bayou, and made it into a privately owned beach. They invited the public to come. Corrine Jones would, Corine Jones would have she would have her Girl Scout groups, Boy Scout groups do swimming classes, swimming training, lifeguard classes out there. You could go out there, you're having a family reunion, you could go out there and recreate. And so they were out there for between so from 1934 to about 1948. So what is that? 14 years, 13, 14 years. This group, Tony James was in it. George King, whose son I learned this story from, Foster King. A lot of people through the Elks knew Foster King. In his word, I think he was an electrician. I think that was his profession. But he told me, I said, Mr. King, what did you do? He said, I was a huckster. I said, okay, that's the story I want to know.
Right.
So you had Foster King, you had you had George King, you had Tony James, you had Dr. Ahrens, the medical doctor, you had Dr. Preer, Richard Preer, who was, if you know, Ronald Preer, the retired firefighter, retired rescue diver. Ronald Preer's father was in it. And so you had all these amazing people that in it. You had C.S. Long, Professor C.S. Long, who later became the president of Edward Waters College. And so he was a teacher and then became one of the presidents for a number of years of Edward Waters College. So you had all of these men, again, who you don't see as much in history books except for like Chappie James, and rightly so. You had these men come together and buy this land so that the public, some of which they didn't even know, the public could come and enjoy this beach.
Because initially you named off 3 different beaches.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Well, those are the ones that right now we know about. So
it's probably more.
It is. One of my dear friends, Joe Vince. I better say his name right. Joe Vince. Joey. Joe. Well, when he was a graduate student with another friend, Dr. Jamin Wells, who's now at the University of Florida, Joe delved into the history of the beach, so we partner with that, and I appreciate that. And one of the things he found was that there was an appeal to the Secretary of the Navy in 1903 for a colored beach at Pensacola Beach. At Pensacola Beach. And so because this whole idea, as I said earlier this morning, this whole idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
So when we have our residents and our tourists who come here, we want them to enjoy the fullness of it. At one time that was not possible that we could do it all together.
Exactly.
And so thanks to groups like Visit Pensacola, and who really market this area to make sure that the fullness of it. So whether it's the beach, whether it's the museum, as we talk about Chappie James, our incredible military.
But isn't there another beach right over here off of Cervantes? What is it called?
Bruce Beach.
Yes.
Bruce Beach. Yes.
We were walking. They said, we're going to take you over there. Because I said, is it really still here? They said, yes, it is.
Yeah. Bruce Beach was privately owned at one point by the Bruce and I may mispronounce it, the Ollinger families.
Black or white?
White.
Okay.
And so they had, it was a dry dock, and so they had, believe they lived over, some of the family lived in Santa Rosa County, I believe in the Baghdad area.
Okay.
And so, but they had the Bruce dry dock here, and then they had another component in Mobile.
Oh, wow.
And so this one here, again, you brought these huge ships in. We have wonderful pictures thanks to the university's archives. And of course the Bruce family. They would bring these huge ships in, lift them out of the water, and work on them. And so that's what a dry dock is, and these pictures are incredible. And so they would dredge there to bring these ships in larger and larger. Well, once the company went out, then there had been a call for a swimming pool for African Americans. Heretofore, you could not go to a public swimming pool if you're African American and swim. And so here you wanted to swim. You would have to swim in the bay. Dr. Marion Williams, who's now passed, but he did a lot of research on the what he called Negro schools, the early schools.
Of course.
He also did, because he loved recreation, not only for his omegas, I gotta
exactly.
but he loved recreation.
He's always bubbly.
Always. And so he had done some history on Bruce Beach, and so he asked me to join in with it. It was one of the greatest honors of my life when he asked me, as a researcher, he asked me to join in. And so he said, and I had talked to Gilbert Marvray, I'll come back to that. He said that he understood that a lot of African American children had died there because you're swimming, and if you think of the dredging that had gone on because of the dry dock, then you have these currents. So you have this.
That will pull them.
Yes. And so he says that there were many
babies that died.
African American children that died there.
Oh my God!
And so I don't have an account.
I understand, but you knew it was a lot.
That's what he said. And so I had the opportunity to interview Gilda Marvray, who was swam the bay. So she swam from Pensacola to Gulf Breeze. There were Tommy Crump, and I think two others had did that. And Gilda Marvray was the spotter. The only woman that I know that has done that. There may have been some others, but
well, that's the one that you know of.
Yes. So she became a lifeguard. She started training at Fricker Center. They had a pool at Fricker Center. Yes.
Fricker Center had a pool.
I did not know that. She said Fricker Center had a pool. She said it was a little bitty thing.
But it was a pool.
She said in her words, she didn't do well in school, but she took to that water like a fish. So she became a lifeguard thanks to Miss Corrine Jones. They took them out to because again they could not integrate in the water. They took them out to the Naval Air Station, the Coast Guard station, and provided them with this training. They became lifeguards, and they became lifeguards when the pool opened, when the swimming pool opened at Bruce Beach. Now they worked a long time, and some people opposed it, some agreed with it, but they finally landed on that location at Bruce's Beach, and so they opened it up. And you remember Tony McRae Jr.?
Oh yes.
His father, Tony McRae Sr., shouted on the airwaves that this pool was open and so exciting. Dr. Donald Spence was one of the announcers. We have footage from them swimming, doing synchronized swimming because of the Gilda Marvray's family. Her son, Charles Marvray, shared that footage with us from 1960 or 1961. So doing these children doing this synchronized swimming, it is absolutely amazing. So,
but I want to encourage our viewers. Yeah. Listen. Do you see what she's telling you, all this footage she has? I mean, and I know it's there at the Institute. I'm encouraging, I know some are at school, but you'll be able to watch the show again this afternoon. These are stories like this that you should bring the children to tour, to educate. And I'm sure if I'm amazed at what I'm finding out, can you imagine what that's going to do with the children? This oral history that they're not getting where it's not printed, but now that it is.
Yeah.
I say that because when you said we have the pictures, the visual adds something so powerful to that. And I really want to, all the educators, if you've got kids in school, suggest that to the counselors. Suggest that to the principal.
Reverend John Powell used to always say, image breeds inspiration. One of my favorite quotes. I'll say that a lot.
That's my Reverend Powell. I mean, he had his birthday a couple of days ago.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, but,
that's right.
But these are things that I want us to do. Please, get your pen. If you've got history, you want to just talk to us and just bring up a part, because when you mentioned the Wooten, then you said the naval base. That's where this Wooten I know is from, is out there on the naval base. Wow. But look, 850-432-7768, that's the number to call to be a part of Black history, the oral that did not get printed, right here on Sunshine's Corner.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month, during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home has been in business since 1913. Hi, I'm David Hawkins, the owner of Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, saying we are a full-service funeral home. We offer pre-need funeral planning. We have a newly remodeled chapel and conference facility. Stop by and see us today. We have 9 vehicles, all waiting to service you. At Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, we appreciate your stopping by. On behalf of all of our family here at Joe Morrison Son Funeral Home, thank you so much for allowing our family to serve you.
At FPL, we plan for storm season all year long. We're strengthening poles to better withstand severe weather. We're clearing lines to improve resiliency, and we're constantly training teams to act at a moment's notice. Because we're always working, always preparing. So when storms do hit, you can count on us. FPL, working for you every single day.
Get a fresh cut and a fresh start at AHW Barber Academy. We focus on growth. Join us at 3822 North 9th Avenue, Pensacola, for a top-notch $6 haircut while supporting aspiring barbers. Our students learn in a real-world setting, guided by experienced professionals to become licensed barbers. Need a cut or a new career? Visit AHW Barber Academy or call 850-692-9298.
Start Mardi Gras weekend with a bang at the Mardi Gras Mambo, part of the 2026 Pensacola Mardi Gras season, presented by the Ice Flyers Foundation. It's the biggest Mardi Gras party of the year, where tradition meets turn-up, starring Waka Flocka Flame with the Yin Yang Twins and DJ Jazzy Jeff. Electrifying sets from Mr. Big and the Rhythm Sisters, the New Orleans Ramblers, and DJ Mr. Lau. Tables and party pit tickets are flying. Get yours now at PensacolaMardiGras.com.
And welcome back to this edition of Black History, locally told by the storyteller herself, Miss Robin Richard. And I cannot thank you enough, because I'm simply blown away by the things that I'm learning here today. And I've been in Pensacola for a minute now, but it's still so much to learn. And the more I talk, and I tell you who else always causes my head to go boom, Mamie will come up with something I was like,
oh my goodness.
God.
Yeah.
And it just blows me away. But you and Mamie are right there together when it comes to storytelling, because you guys get so deep into it. Because it's a passion. And I don't call that work. When it's something you enjoy like that, that's knowledge.
Listen, to be in the same sentence as Mamie Webb Hicks, and I call her beautiful Mamie, to be in the same sentence is amazing. Two of my favorite people just in the world, but specifically here in literature and English, Mamie Webb Hicks and Ora Wills.
Oh, God, yes. She was out. They brought her to the party back here a couple of weeks ago. I said, "Come on, man!" Yeah. But that's the way it goes. Yeah. And these things like this, we got to continue to do. And I really want to tip my hat to Visit Pensacola. I really want to tip my hat to them for taking this step to make sure that everybody knows that even when you visit in Pensacola, there's so much for you to visit for.
Yeah, I think about those footsteps when you're on the beach, or when you're enjoying downtown, or when you're on one of our bays, canoeing on one of our bays, or at the museums, at the Ella Jordan, at the Chappie James. Who has walked in those footsteps before you? Exactly. And so maybe they reside here, maybe they've come from out of town. I remember Angela Davis came to, Dr. Angela Davis came to the University of, spoke out of the University of West Florida, and I had the amazing opportunity to photograph her. Oh, wow. And so those photographs were used by NPR, and so I was so excited. And so I don't remember who introduced her, but they said, "Welcome, this is her first time here." She said, "Oh, no. She said, my family," she was out of Birmingham, she said, "my family would come here on the weekends to Wingate Beach."
Look at that.
And so we all went.
I was like, "What?" We got a phone call. Somebody want to get in this conversation. Okay, let's say good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I got to do something. Okay, I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do this. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. Good morning, Robin. How y'all doing?
Good morning. This sounds like Dr. Martin.
It is.
My neighbor and friend.
There you go.
Yes, forever your neighbor.
Yes.
Living somewhere else.
We won't talk about that on the air.
Really,
you're still my neighbor.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
But you know what? I want to just call in and say I am enjoying the show and listen to the stories. I love our rich history, our Black history. I just love everything about it.
Absolutely.
And just to learn all this, and I wish that we grew up already knowing this and was learning this all our life. But you know what? It's never too late.
That's right.
Nope.
To continue to learn. And I just got to finishing a book on Audible book on the hidden story of black people in the Bible, and just was learning all of this stuff about our ancestral history. Was just so enlightening. And I hope that some of the stuff that you're talking about, Robin, that once they get Booker Center, rebuilt and turned into this nice media center, that we have some type of material display about some of that rich history that we have.
That's a good idea.
It's a wonderful idea.
How many children will read that every time they walk through them halls to learn more and more about how Pensacola became Pensacola through the lives of the people that look like them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing to have some type of display.
Were you amazed, Eric, were you amazed to the fact that there was a pool there, and as long as we've been going to the Fricker?
When she said that, I'm trying to think, where was it at? It must have been on the basketball court. Must be on
No, I understand.
Exactly where it was at.
I understand from Mrs. Marvray that it was near where the baseball field was.
Right there.
I don't have an exact location, and it's probably in the city of Pensacola records. It may be.
It's probably that deep area, Eric. Right there before we go on the field, there's a real deep area that's been there.
She said it wasn't very large, but to a child, it's probably huge. But she said it wasn't very large.
We're going to talk to the mayor.
Yes. And the city has been kudos to them for retaining those records. The city, the county has great archives, and these are publicly available documents for people. University of Florida's their historic trust, the Hilton Green Room. The archives out at the university, Pensacola State College. So these public places have amazing archives that people, some of your families more than likely are in those archives.
Thank you. It was great talking to you guys.
But Dr. Martin, can I just ask you real quick?
1 second, Dr. Martin.
Okay.
What part of Mississippi are you from? Remind me.
Philadelphia.
Okay, and so we're going to be talking about Greenwood, Mississippi.
Yes. I got to grab it.
I worked there for a little while.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that with this quilt. I thought he was from that area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, we'll talk later, love.
Okay, then.
All right, bye-bye. But that is so true. That was a great example, I think, that he gave, to have that to show, because the Fricker Center has been there for so long. And I would love to have a picture of the pool. If I could just have that on. I think I know where the pool was.
I've got to find that. And right across, I think about the Fricker Center, but right across from there was a homes, they call it the Colored Orphans and Widows Home. So there are two. Right across from the Fricker Center on East Street, there are two, CEII has ownership and management of the property. There are two double duplexes there. And that on those lots, there were two homes, or a home, I believe it was two though, that was called the Colored Widows and Orphans Home. And this group in 1910, 1911 started raising money. Yes, because you had these pandemics. So remember, we went through COVID.
Exactly.
So we had the flu pandemic. We've had rubella, not rubella. What's the other? Measles, and all of these different outbreaks.
And they just found a case of measles in Florida.
That's probably why that's on my head. Yeah. So we've had all of these communicable diseases, and people. Unfortunately died during those things, and just as we saw in COVID. And so this group of African American men and women got together and started the Colored Widows and Orphans Home.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
and one of those was Hannington Watts, not the Hannington Watts we know from the Post, and I don't know about any kinship. I've got to see if there's any kinship there because their names are so close. But he was one of the leaders. John Sunday contributed money during this, and you saw churches and all come together and support these widows and orphan babies who needed that help, and that's right across. So I can imagine that they would have had to have had some sort of use for that. So here you have this recreation. You may not be able to go to the beach, but you could go to the pool. So think about how important our pools are Roger Scott, Cecil Hunter,
Exactly.
all these other public pools, Salvation Army, all these other public pools. Think about how important those pools are.
Put the pool back in the freaking. I mean.
Or maybe even the way that they did at Bruce Beach when they redesigned that is putting even an outline there of it. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. We have so many amazing assets here. When people live here and visit here, can come and share in this.
Absolutely. We're having such a fantastic conversation. But I got to move on a little bit further because I want to talk about these quilts. Because when you brought up the fact about the quilts, and it felt so good because in Alabama, my parents transitioned, but the home is there.
Nice.
And I was there, going through the closets, and I found all these handmade quilts.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful designs. You can see the stitching.
Hand stitching.
Hand stitching, no sewing machine. And you can see how they did it. And I brought them all back to Florida, washed them, took them back, and sister got one, but then I took them back home.
You need to do a class on washing those.
Exactly. I'm going to teach how to do. You got to have a big washer. Get ready to stand there for a moment.
Because you're messing with history.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure to care for it correctly.
I got to take pictures.
Yeah.
And bring them back so you can see how beautiful they are. And it's just, and they're so heavy. Oh my God, and the patterns.
Yeah.
And I can remember as a child, these things that they used to put these things on to make the quilts, they were called horses. But it was wood with legs like this. One on each end.
Okay.
But then they had this long thing on top that would stretch the material out on.
Yes.
And sew it across. But the horses were the thing that would hold it up.
I believe they still do a form of that today.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a place at home.
It may be fancier.
Right.
But it's the same apparatus.
Home, they have a quilting class. Wow. In Alabama, they do.
Wow.
And I mean, my cousin Melvia, I mean, they always have things that they give away.
And generally with these quilts, I'm still studying the history of quilts because of this project that having in a few weeks coming up. So I'm still studying the history of it. And by the way, let me go back with Visit Pensacola, we're going to be having this talk on February 13th, Friday, February 13th in the morning. So we'll certainly continue to share those details. And so that next Friday, having this quilting, which we've heard from people from Alabama and Mississippi and Florida to join in these quilting guilds. And so my understanding is that it was generally two functions that you did quilts. One was utilitarian or functional. These quilts kept you warm.
Yes, they did.
Whether you put it on the bed or whether you put it on the wall to keep air coming from between.
Exactly.
My mother said one of my earliest memories of childhood was I was about 2 or 3 years old, looking up from some sort of crib or toddler bed, and I said, "Mom, I remember newspapers on the wall." And I said, she said, "You don't remember that?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I remember some newspapers on the wall." She said, "That kept the cold out. That was our insulation." So quilts are functional like that, so keeping you warm, keeping the weather out. But they're also artistic too.
They are so talented.
And there are narrative quilts, there are story quilts. The famed Faith Ringgold, who we just lost 2 years ago, now who would make these amazing story quilts. Her quilts today go for $20,000, $30,000.
Exactly.
And so they're beautiful, and they weave these stories and their history and their heritage into these quilts. And as you said, these quilting guilds at churches and in homes and in community centers all around. And so this quilt was done by one of my neighbors and girlfriends. I'm so grateful. When I saw it last year, I told her name is Patricia Gadsden. I said, we call her PJ. I said, PJ, this has to be in a museum. It's it's G's Bend museum quality.
Unbelievable.
It's I just forgot Bisa's last name. It's Faith Ringold. It's Bisa Butler quality. It's Michael Cummings quality. It is absolutely stunning. It's almost 10 feet wide by 9 feet long, and it tells the story of this community in Greenwood, Mississippi, in LaFleur County, Mississippi. Eric. of this neighborhood called Baptist Town. And I'm still understanding the origins of it, but it looks like it started in the 1800s, and it's where black people went when you need to be baptized, because it's right there on the Yazoo, the Yazoo River, and then it's another tributary that comes off of there.
We got to go take a break. We'll come back and finish that, okay?
Yeah.
But I tell you, I'm so into this, I almost said, oh, let's skip this one. No, can't do that. But look, I want to remind everybody as well, make sure you go to my Facebook page. You know that they've got the Mardi Gras Mamba that's coming up with Waka Flocka Flame. Did I say it right? They got DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Yin Yang Twins. Have you ever heard of those people? The voice got me with the Waka Flocka. I mean, I don't know who that is.
I don't either. But DJ Jazzy Jeff,
yes,
he was the Fresh Prince. Yes, yes.
I'm going to give away a pair of tickets at the end of the show. So look, go to my Facebook page, like it, and put your name in. You could be the one that wins. It is time now for our Black History Fact that's coming up, that's being brought to you by AHW Barber Academy, where you can learn and get your certificate in 8 months or less and be your own barber, as well as Joe Morrison's Son Funeral Home right down the street, who does such great work right here. Thank you for being a part of Sonshine's Corner.
Since the Civil Rights Movement, African Americans have earned positions atop the business world that few could have imagined possible during the long years when the color line of racial discrimination and segregation divided white America from black America. Among the last barriers to break was the corporate world, a bastion of exclusion and entitlement deep into the 20th century. One of the leaders most responsible for integrating corporate America is Vernon Jordan, who first rose to prominence as a civil rights lawyer. In 1972, he became the first black member of the board of directors of the Celanese Corporation, Bankers Trust, and J.C. Penney.
By my very presence on these boards, I was doing some teaching in corporate America. Wall Street was a huge part of the American society from which we were excluded. And so I became an advocate for inclusion.
The 1970s was a fruitful period for African American entrepreneurs. In 1971, Johnson Products, a hair product company founded by Joan and George Johnson, made history as the first black-owned business to be listed on the American Stock Exchange. More progress was made towards the end of the decade when Robert Johnson, a lobbyist for the cable television industry, persuaded a businessman to back him with $500,000 of funding so he could start his own cable station. He would name it BET, Black Entertainment Television.
When I was looking at BET, there had been black print. John Johnson, of course, the genius that he was, had Ebony and Jet. Ed Lewis had Essence, and Earl Grey's had Black Enterprise. There was black radio. And so,
And black newspapers.
And black newspapers. So cable was sort of a follow-on to the concept of black media reaching black audience and selling to advertisers who want to reach black consumers.
BET went public in 1991, and when Johnson sold it to Viacom in 2000, he became America's first black billionaire. In 2009, the boundaries of black success on Wall Street were pushed further when Ursula Burns took command of the Xerox Corporation, becoming the first black woman to serve as CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
The rules of the games have changed somewhat. Some of the CEOs in corporate America defied all the odds and made it. But the game, to a large extent, remains the same.
Much more work remains to be done to integrate the C-suites of corporate America and empower African American men, and especially African American women, to lead.
Chris Matthews.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're still talking about those quilts. Yo. I mean, and I've got this vision for the quilts that's at my mom's house, right? Because they are so well put together. When they say heavy, I mean, they're heavy. I mean, just
well, you talk about putting it on a horse. Chris Matthews, Reverend Matthews, who we just lost last year, unfortunately, Reverend Matthews' son, Chris, he lives in Mobile. He said that his grandmother, his mother's mother, used to nail. She didn't have a horse like you. Y'all were rich. He said she used to nail it to the floor, the quilt edges to the floor,
to hold it down.
To hold it down. His grandchildren, and they would roll it up. They would roll it. She would roll it up and just make them hold it tight and roll it up.
So they can get it.
So where there's a will, there's a way.
Always.
Yeah.
Let's see who wants to talk to you this morning, Robin. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda.
Look, this is the woo.
Wait. Good morning, Mrs. Rashad.
There you go.
Good morning.
I have to say that with much respect.
Oh,
and I
bless
want you to tell Lloyd that Sylvester Wooten said hello.
I will.
That's that Wooten.
I will. Good morning. Oh my goodness, I want to know about you.
That's right.
Good morning to both of you. Gladys and I retired at Naval Air Station in 2014 with over 71 years of military service.
Y'all had the clothing store.
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
Yes,
I don't think I ever knew your last
on the
name.
boutique.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh my
Let me say
goodness.
this. Gladys was Air Force Navy for over 30. I was Air Force Navy for over 35 years, and she was Army Navy for over 36 years.
Listen to
She
that.
outranked me the whole time, and I enjoyed every minute of it. in 2009, we opened up La Bona Boutique in the historical village next to the Pensacola Bay Brewery. But across the street is the old Christ Church. It was built in 1832 by slaves.
That's right.
And the whole time I was down there, I was so proud to be able to tell people about how that church was built. That's the oldest church in the state of Florida that still exists on its original foundation, and they buried 3 people underneath the building. And there's also a building on the same side of the street. It was called the Julie Cottage.
That's right.
And it was a successful black businesswoman that lived in that place. And it was also a red light district because the bay was so full of ships, the sailors would come in, and you know what happens, and what caused the red light district.
A whole bunch of loving. Let's just leave it there.
There's so much here in Pensacola that we're involved. I know you don't have time, but I'd love for you to tell a little bit about what Lloyd has and is doing for young people when it comes to robotics and computers.
Well, and so thank you for that. So we always call him Seal. So when you said I didn't, so he would during the parades he would sit on top of his building and very, very proudly. So so him and Gladys are beautiful people, and thank you so much for reminding, because our churches have had such great contributions to history, and as he said, those are some of the last, often the last and the longest remnants of our history, the architectural history.
People need to take their children out to Fort Barrancas and Fort Pickens and look at how the bricks were laid. And they were laid by slaves. And they did it in order to gain their freedom. I'm going to go, but this morning the president announced on May the 17th that they want people to come to the mall in Washington to rededicate this nation as one nation under God. I don't know where it's going, but I know God is in charge of everything. So you all just pray for the nation. I'm praying for you 2 ladies, and I'm praying for all the women, because behind every great man, there's a woman. And in church, when they used to say amen, I would always under my breath say, yeah, and a woman.
I'll check you out, Kingdom Walker.
Love y'all.
Love you too.
And I'll correct you, Seal, as you go. Beside every great man
Amen.
is a great woman, and beside every great woman is a great man. There is a great man, and there are great men besides great men, and great women besides great women as well.
But you know, he made a point. I did not know. I know where the church is down there.
Yeah.
But I did not know people were buried under that church.
There are, I believe, in my understanding, and he said 3. I don't know the number, so I'll.
Yeah, he said there are 3 people.
There are 3 that there
but
are.
my question is, are they black or white?
Priests. There may be priests. I don't know. I think my understanding that they were part of the clergy. So that's my understanding.
Oh, really?
And again,
I know a young lady got married in that church.
Yeah, they have a wonderful tour that you can go down there to the High Tivoli House, and you can do that. Oh yeah, that historic Pensacola. The one connecting back. So we're in historic Belmont de Villiers. St. Cyprian Church, that was one of the places that they started down there, when Old Christ Church, because that was the original place for Old Christ Church, which is now further north up on Palafox. And so St. Cyprian started as a mission out of there, and they met down there. And then we mentioned John Gibson.
Exactly.
So here you have John Gibson, his wife, and others who started. People know the Green Book, the movie The Green Book, and the actual book. Don Shirley, Dr. Don Shirley, who was a psychologist. That's a little known Black history fact that he was a psychologist, a trained, educated psychologist. He was a classic pianist. And his father, Dr. Edwin Shirley, Dr. E.S. Shirley, and his mother, Dr. Gertrude Shirley, were right here in Pensacola. Right, he came to be the what do they call it, priest? With the Episcopal.
I'm just saying.
The priest.
I call him preacher.
Okay, he came to be the preacher at St. Cyprian. And so Don Shirley then grew up right here in this neighborhood, classically trained from the age of 3 years old. His mother, who was a music teacher, privately and within the public schools. And so then you saw Don Shirley go to, he went to Eastern Europe. I believe it was Russia. He went to Eastern Europe when he was 9 years old. And then came back, went to school, wound up in Carnegie Hall playing there, and his story is absolutely incredible. The Green Book tells, it's from a particular point of view, but it gives you an insight to what he must have went through when he ventured back south.
Most certainly.
To play, and the unfortunate discrimination. But our churches have so much history. Edwards Chapel, one of the
that was our hub of always.
It was black and white,
exactly.
And everybody in between. Edwards Chapel, they've maintained their records. So these churches have these incredible historic records, and I'm grateful when I can take a peek into it. You know, when they tell you to, I tell people, when they tell you to, do you want to take an ad in this book?
Exactly.
Please do.
Do it.
Because 100 years later,
that's right.
You know, the next historian will be able to see and tell your story.
But do you see, are you are as engulfed as I am? Because of the fact we're talking here, and as I listen to you, Robin, I'm thinking about what went on in the 60s and the 50s, but look how far you're going back, what happened before that.
Yeah. It's a foundation laid up for the 50s and 60s. Yeah.
And these are things, ladies and gentlemen, that we must, as a community, teach our children. And some of the adults, such as I, to know what it is, to know who you are and where you come from. Because when you add that all together, the things, I'll put it like this, the people that are even calling, when you can hear, when they add a part to it, look at the dots, how it's being connected. Look at the knowledge that's being shared. And I will say again to visit Pensacola. Thank you for doing this, because that's what Tia was talking about the most. Was that Black history. We're going to start off with this Black history. We want to do this, we want to do this. And we as a community got to come together to supporting these things.
History is made every day, and so I encourage people, you know, so we have these electronics right here, and so I know there's some, you know, pushback on using different things, but one of the things that I do appreciate about our phones and our other electronic devices is that it is, you can have these recording devices right there. So the elders in our family, like we started the show talking about Mrs. Wooten, you can then put that phone up and record that. We started out this history with oral history. So it wasn't just a thing for African Americans or Native Americans. Everybody started out their history with oral history before the written word.
That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why we do what we do here. We got to run, take another break. But the fact of it is, we're talking history. And I say it every day. Knowledge is so much power. And I mean, it just gives, it's a light bulb that comes on that causes you just to feel this on the inside, even if it's about how they did equip. We're going to talk more about that, because we got to have Robin back so we can continue this conversation about history, because it is Black History Month and we celebrate right here on Sunshine's Corner.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car. Because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
My name's Kelly McLeod. I'm the owner of Bella Magazine. Bella is a source of uplifting and inspiring content for the women of Pensacola.
I think the magazine is just so thoughtfully done. There's a lot of attention to detail. The stories are really good.
You've got seriousness, you've got fun, education, fashion. It just encompasses everything.
Women are multidimensional, and so is Bella.
From the efficiency of American natural gas and the dependability of nuclear power, to the strength of Florida's sunshine and the flexibility of advanced battery storage systems, we leverage a diverse mix of energy sources to power our growing state, ensuring reliable, low-cost power for your home or business whenever you need it. FPL, working for you every single day.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
Make it easy.
And listen, and welcome back, because I tell you what, like I was telling Robert, I can't believe the hour is almost up, but somebody else want to ask us something, because we're learning so much. Good morning.
Good morning, Sunshine. This is Ardelia.
Hey, darling.
Hi, Miss Ardelia.
Hey, Rob. Since this is Black History Month, and I might have missed it. Y'all might have already discussed it because I just tuned in. Are there any documentations on this old elementary schools from the black community? I know Spencer Bibbs has a plaque up by their school that gives the information on the origin of the name.
So
we had J.Lee Pickens, we had Spencer Bibbs, we had A.A. Dixon.
See all this history?
John A. Gibson.
Yeah.
All these were black schools back in the day.
So the answer, Ardelia, the answer is yes. I mentioned Dr. Marion Williams earlier. He'd been a science teacher and historian. He wrote a book about the African American schools here, those early schools. I believe he called it Negro or Colored Public Schools in Pensacola or in Escambia County. I'm not sure if it's still available, but you may want to check with some of the local bookstores and see if it's still available. But he wrote a book about that. We updated the information on John Gibson, because sometimes the information that you have at one point is not the full information, and so we were able to find additional information, and I conferred with him on that. And so as a part of the Writing the Past series with the Pensacola News Journal, we updated that information on John Gibson. So the answer is yes, that there is a book, and I pray that it is still available so that you can see see that in it. Yes.
You see, Ardelia, we're making everything happen, love.
Yeah. Maybe there's an opportunity to update
exactly
that. Yeah, and he actually drew the pictures, because a lot of those schools he didn't have early pictures. There still has not been. We still have not found a picture of, I believe, either Spencer Bibbs or John Gibson.
Okay.
Not that they don't exist, but I don't know that they've been found yet. So thank you for that question, Ardelia.
Thank you, Ardelia.
There is a sign on the 6th Avenue side by Spencer Bibbs that tells about Spencer Bibbs.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
We're gonna have another show, because we're down to the last 3 minutes. We got to go, Miss Ardelia. All right, love. I love you.
you too.
All right, now we're down to the last thing. I want you to hit that real quick.
Okay.
Can you talk about that in 2 minutes?
Sure, just in terms of recreation and how people come into town for either now baseball with the Blue Wahoos, and then even the amateurs with the Soul Bowl, the Southern Youth Sports Association, all of these teams, AAU teams. In 1924, there was a big game here, football. Florida A&M, then college, and Dillard University met at played football for a game at Legion Field.
Wow.
And
Lumen?
so again, when you talk about the steps that people have taken before us, and so as these children now play in Legion Field, that was in 1924, and the ticket prices were
60 cents.
60 cents.
Unbelievable.
What'd you say?
60 cents won't buy you a cup of coffee.
Tell Quinn Studer to have a 60-cent day.
Hey,
for,
Quinn, let's have a 60-cent day. You know what? You just gave me an idea. I mean, with Lumen, with the history, Quint, because he loves history. That should be a show. Yeah. I mean, with everything coming together, oh man, it could be really a great time. Robin, I tell you, we're out of time.
Well, thank you.
Look, we got to come back. No, we're coming back.
Well, thank
because
you.
this is Black history.
Yeah.
And there's too much information not to share it.
It's a lot.
And I mean, I think the oral history, the one that does not get printed, are so important.
Yeah. And they can come to February 13th.
That's right.
At Visit Pensacola.
That's right.
To hear more, because we're going to be talking about recreation.
Exactly.
And showing the film. I'll show the swimming film.
Well, you know I'll be there. Okay. But look at this. I'm going to make sure I keep this. I can keep the dates going.
Thank you.
And we're going to have you back again.
That's February 21st.
Exactly.
And 20th and 21st for the quilt exhibition.
I would have gone home and bring a quilt back. I want you to see it.
Please do.
Yes, I will.
Please do.
I will.
Seriously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. But let me say for Waka Flocka, the winner for Waka Flocka Flame, it will be Monica Rogers. Congratulations, Monica. You've got yourself a pair of tickets to Waka Flocka Flame. That Waka Flocka? That. Okay, Monica Mumbo. Thank you, love. You know what I was trying to get.
Because I thought the FCC was going to have to beep you.
Me and you both. But listen, we got to get out of here, but I want to leave it as we do every day. Never lose your focus. Always remember to keep God first in whatever you do. Handle it like that, and I guarantee you'll be a total success. So until tomorrow, for a day filled with nothing but love, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Waka Flocka.
Flame.
Thank you so much, Robin.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You'll be back.
I always appreciate
All right.
sharing.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.